Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. George Santayana, 1905. It's important that we remember this at all times, especially when trying to improve ourselves or anything in our lives really. I should probably explain what this has to do with Fortnite. For a game that has been running for 7 years now, they've introduced a lot of new features into the game, some of which permanently changed the way we interact and play the game, but not every new feature has had this impact. Some were useless, discontinued, or straight up made the game worse, and those will be the ones we're discussing today. Also, if you're asking why I'm out here in the middle of the woods, I finally got to play as Dr. Doom in the new LTM, and barely got to play as him because I immediately got killed, and that made me literally explode with rage and land in the forest, where I got lost, so I built this fire to hopefully heal my health like it does in Fortnite. Also, it kind of fits the spooky season of October, so yeah. The first feature we will discuss is an infamous one many have been begging for its return in some capacity, myself included, and one that eventually led to the casualty of a very big Fortnite account. The case of account merging and iTalk's original Fortnite account. Like I've said, it's very likely many of you have heard of the case before. It was pretty big news when it first happened, but for those not in the loop, let me catch you guys up. Account merging is pretty self-explanatory. It was the ability to merge two different Fortnite accounts into one, without losing any of the progress or cosmetics you previously had on each account. It was introduced in early 2019 and was a solution for those who had to make two separate Fortnite accounts when Fortnite first started, because sharing one account across multiple consoles just wasn't an option back then. Thanks, Sony. I would personally love for Fortnite to reintroduce this feature back at some capacity, because my old account has some skins I can never get back, and I would like to own them again. Back to the main topic though. In the same year account merging started, it was discontinued. Why, you might ask? Well, Epic Game hates the idea of someone buying or selling accounts. It's against their terms of service, and both the buyer and seller's account could get banned permanently if caught. Why do they hate it? I don't really know, probably something money related. Well, account merging made it really easy for people to buy, sell, and trade accounts. And account merging was only supposed to be a temporary solution in the first place, so it makes sense why it wasn't kept around for long. In that short amount of time it was up though, account merging had laid a trap that would later claim a victim. On December 3rd, 2021, iTalk, who's known for making Fortnite commentaries and covering the shops every day, would upload a video titled "My Fortnite account is disabled." In said video, he explains that after contacting Fortnite support over not receiving an item, they banned his account for merging it with an account that was not created by him. They did this like 2 years after he did it, so I don't know why they decided it was cool to enforce the rules at that moment, but I'm not a billion-dollar company, so like whatever. If you're wondering why iTalk's ban was so significant, it's because he was known as a collector of everything cosmetic related in Fortnite. He bought everything in the shop, completed every battle pass, and earned all the free rewards. In fact, it was one of those free rewards that he didn't get, which caused him to contact support and led to his ban. These types of accounts are really rare to run across, so to see him get banned was shocking to say the least, considering it was also a really big part of his brand. May his original account rest in peace. Wow, I didn't think I have that much to say about account merging. I don't know why I'm being so dramatic too, it's literally just talking about accounts, and it's not like there's anything dangerous out here. Anyways, the next topic we're covering is one I'm assuming many are familiar with, since many have begged for its return in some capacity: the death of Fortnite pets and toys. Pets were a backbling that were a bit more special than your normal backbling. Pets would react differently depending on your situation, like gliding, finding a chest, or getting knocked down. They were definitely a nice addition when they were first added, since backblings didn't really do much back then besides sitting on your character's back. And while yeah, you can't argue that's all they need to do, it was cool to have some variety that early in the game. However, the last time they were seen in the game was in Chapter 2 Season 5 with Baby Yoda from Star Wars. After that, it was clear Fortnite took the pets to a farm up north. The reason why they were removed was never made clear, but we can theorize. These guys must have taken a lot of time to fully model, animate, and playtest, especially that early in the game's life. And despite all that work, they weren't really that popular, especially for being mostly in the battle pass. When they did start selling them in the shop though, a lot of issues arose. First off, the price. 1,000 V-Bucks for just a backbling was absurd back then. Nowadays that's a deal compared to how Fortnite prices things, but people did not like the price of it then. But like I said, these things took a lot of time to make, so they were always going to be slightly more expensive than everything else. And maybe with enough time, they would have found a better price that would have satisfied everyone, if it wasn't for the gunner incident. I will never understand Epic's thought process when they did this, but their idea for the first pet item shop release was to release one that was near identical to the one in the battle pass at the time. Not only was the price already insanely high, but they were practically the same as the ones you already got in your battle pass. And remember, people really cared about battle pass exclusivity at the time. That was probably the incident that finally gave Epic an excuse to discontinue them. There was no other way to describe this other than lazy and greedy. While aspects of pets have lived through things like reactivity, and while you can honestly argue that many modern backblings are just pets without the label, the pets line has officially stayed dead since the release of Baby Yoda in Chapter 2 Season 5. While the death of pets is one that is still felt by many nowadays, it's not the only cosmetic type that has met a similar fate. The case of toys is one that shares a similar story. Toys were a cosmetic that basically just let you throw a random item. That's it. It wasn't really anything major, and that's why I loved it. Similar to pets, they added variety into the game, and I feel like now would be a perfect time to reintroduce them. Imagine you're playing this immersive, amazing, horror creative map, and right before the big scare, some asshole throws a tomato at you. I don't even know if that's a good reason for wanting them back, but I just really want them back. There hasn't been any toys since Chapter 2 Season 6, and before that, there weren't any since Chapter 1 Season 10, so it was kinda clear that it was a one-time thing back at Chapter 2. Their disappearance was also never really explained, but I feel like there's a pretty easy explanation. Lack of creativity. You can only really make so many before you start running out of ideas. Same thing goes for the pets. They were already running short on ideas by Season 6. Do you really think they would have lasted till today? Probably, but both were things that took a while to make fully functional. And with how many things break every update, it would only add work that Fortnite probably just didn't see as worth it. So while we can try begging for their return every day, I doubt we'll ever see them again, or at least anytime soon. Might as well just let them play in the farm up north. Those have been some pretty significant changes that Fortnite has forgotten about. So how about we talk about some smaller ones? When you used to run, these clouds of dust would appear in an honestly cartoony way. They were taken up north when Fortnite added sprinting. When people talk about missing Fortnite's old cartoon aesthetic, this is something that like no one brings up, and I feel like that's weird because it's one of those things that you don't even realize, but it just gave it that aesthetic without your brain even like processing it. I get why they removed it with sprinting, just because it would kind of look kind of weird with sprinting, but they could have definitely reworked it to still fit in. There was no reason to just flat out remove it. Another feature you may have forgotten about is the talking animations characters had in the lobby if you were using in-game voice chat. It was only around for Chapter 1 and a bit of Chapter 2, and it wasn't the most accurate, but I don't know, man. Why remove this? It was such a harmless and background feature, yet a fun one. All skins have some sort of mouth modeling anyways, and you could disable it for skins that just wouldn't work. So I don't know why it had to be removed. I know people would rather use stuff like Discord to talk instead of using the in-game voice chat, but I don't know, it's like one of those small features that just had no reason to be removed. And while we're on the topic of the lobby, I can't forget to mention a feature that Fortnite only wants to bring back in spirit: 3D lobbies. If you look at the lobby nowadays, it's just a PNG background and the floor is 3D. Back then, the whole lobby was 3D, and yeah, I will admit, this was way better. I don't like the people who just always complain saying OG Fortnite was better, everything about OG Fortnite was way better, but this is definitely one of those instances where, yeah, it was way better. This genuinely just looks way better and cooler than whatever this is now. The only benefit to the new one is that creative map makers can have their own custom backgrounds, and you can easily change it in your files, if you know how to do it. But the new ones just look so flat. It's cool 3D art, but I wouldn't sacrifice that for a whole 3D lobby. And honestly, it seems like Fortnite can't make up their minds if they want the lobby to be their main hub. Seems like they just wanted to be the creative map selection, but that's a whole nother topic. Before we reach our final Fortnite feature that was forgotten, we gotta let it load. Oh yeah, this existed. Animated loading screens were only around for such a short amount of time that only 2 were ever released. And I'm gonna say this one time, but Epic, please bring them back. I don't care if they make the game take longer to load, just disable it on consoles that can't handle it, or give it an off option that would disable the animation. This was such a cool concept to just let die. Imagine the potential nowadays, like Goku shooting Kamehameha, or animating background explosions or fires. I really doubt they'll bring it back just because it wasn't even around for that long, but man, I can hope. The final feature finally loaded, and before you ask, I don't know how I have Wi-Fi out here, I just do. Let me explain. Save the World isn't really forgotten or a feature. It's a whole ass separate game mode, and it's not like Epic doesn't acknowledge it. It still gets new features like sprinting, hurdling, and mantling. The shop bundle packs are new every season. New heroes and weapons are added every once in a while, and the seasonal events are still held every year. But let's not kid ourselves. Fortnite has stopped regularly supporting Save the World since like 2019, and the little bits of crumbs we do get for Save the World are like the bare minimum to keep the game working and alive. I guess it's important to explain the story of Save the World and how we got here. It's a story many of you have heard, but basically, Save the World was the original version of Fortnite and was released on July 25th, 2017. The game had been in development since 2011, and the game was planned to be a massive hit with constant updates, so you can imagine Epic's disappointment when the game performed very below expectations. The games needed eyes on it, and quick, because a lot of developers were needed to keep the game in line with the original vision Epic had planned out for it. So, they tasked a small team of developers to create a side game mode that would funnel new players into Save the World. That game mode was Battle Royale, and I don't think think I need to be the one to tell you whether or not that game mode was a success. Battle Royale was made so quickly and blew up in popularity so fast that the Save the World developers were desperately needed for it. I mean, just look at how many assets Chapter 1 took from Save the World. It's not a bad thing, but you can tell this was a rushed project even without hearing the whole story. Plus, while not the first, Fortnite was the first Battle Royale to explode in popularity like it did, and it was about to set trends that many other games in the genre would later follow. Unfortunately for Save the World, priority had to be shifted towards Battle Royale, leaving it to basically die. I mean, the storyline never even finished, and Epic later changed their mind on making the game free to play. The game would have surely died if it wasn't for the player base. Even now, the game is still pulling in more players daily than other new game modes Epic has been marketing towards us, like Festival and Rocket Racing. So while Epic may want the game to be forgotten, in an ironic way, the players that they so desperately wanted for it are the only reasons Epic can't let it die. But they sure as hell will barely acknowledge it and basically forget about it. And with that, those are Epic's forgotten features. If I didn't mention one, it's because I quite literally forgot. Seems like I used all the Wi-Fi I had available to me to play Save the World though. I only have enough Wi-Fi for one call. Well, there's the one call. Let's see who it is. Epic says they'll come find me in a bit and won't forget about me. They told me to just watch over the pets, toys, and save the world as they transport them to the farm up north. Oh wait.